story, a narrative about the president threatening to grant or withhold certain privileges, certain military assistance voted on by the Congress to Ukraine, which is in our national interest to do so because they were fighting the Russians. They've already lost over 11,000, 12,000, 13,000 people fighting the Russians. That's why I say all roads lead to Putin. Putin benefited from our not any holding up of that foreign military assistance. Putin benefited by the action taken by the president vis-a-vis Syria and Turkey because they wanted a stronghold in the Middle East, and the president gave them that. Putin benefited from the president's comments about uncertainty about our support for NATO. Putin benefited. The list goes on. I won't even go into the elections, just those three, because they're the three I have mentioned to the president when I have said, with you, Mr. President, all roads lead to Putin.
You kept saying that you haven't really decided whether to move.
We haven't. That'll be up to the committees to decide.
But do you believe that yesterday's testimony from Bill Taylor and George Kent at all moved the needle for Democrats more towards?
This isn't about for Democrats. This is for the American people. This is about patriotism. It's not about politics, Democrats, Republicans. It's not about anything political. It's about patriotism. It's about honoring our oaths of office and to uphold the Constitution. And the Constitution spells out what our responsibilities are and what our penalties are. And yesterday, I do believe the truth will set us free. And so the truth coming from the president's own appointee describing bribery and threatening, in the course of it, threatening the identity of the whistleblower was just shameful behavior on the part of the Republicans. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask you said USMCA is imminent. How do you think AFL-CIO is poised to respond if the implementing bill is going to be considered in the House?
Well, we have shared values with the AFL-CIO and believe that the growth of our economy is blessed with more participation from collective bargaining, workplace safety, all of that. So I think we will have we'll see what the implementation is, what that is, and the enforcement is, and I think it will be a value that is shared by our friends in labor as well as the Democrats in the Congress. So we're in a good place. We as I say, I want this to be a template for future trade agreements so that the work that we put in here will not only have a benefit in the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, but for the globalization discussion in general. And so what we'll have to do is, as soon as we come to conclusion, is to have the implementing language written, and we have an idea of what that would be. So I think I'd like to see us get it done this year. I mean, that would be my goal. I don't imagine that it would take much more in the Senate to pass. I mean, some of our legislation we're going to pass this year, but we don't know what happens in the Senate. I would hope that they would move quickly with this.
Do you believe them personally?
Chat?
Thank you. You say that the House has not obviously decided
That's right.
to pursue impeachment yet.
That's right.
But when we see the hearing yesterday,
Right.
a lot of questions about impeachment. You talk about three distinct things there: bribery, abuse of power, things that could go into articles of impeachment. Why would the public not think that the House is dead set on a course to impeach the president when all of this milieu is going on?
Well, all this milieu is a seeking of the truth. It's called an inquiry. And if the president has something that is exculpatory, Mr. President, that means you have anything that shows your innocence, then he should make that known. And that's part of the inquiry. And so far, we haven't seen that, but we welcome it. And that's what an inquiry is about.
Do you think that there is a way, considering all that they're doing, all the hearings, all the depositions that are coming, that there's any way that the House could not impeach with all of this work regardless?
Perhaps you have not heard me when I have said, this is something we're do with a heavy heart. This is very prayerful. because impeaching is a divisive thing in our country. It's hard. And the place that our country is now, it's not a time where you go to 70% when President Nixon walked out of the White House. It wasn't there before he left, even 2 weeks before he left. It wasn't there until the other shoe fell and he walked out the door. And by the way, what President Trump has done on the record in terms of acting to advantage a foreign power to help him in his own election, and the obstruction of information about that, the cover-up, makes what Nixon did look almost small. But again, an inquiry is an inquiry, and people come in and you hear what they have to say. Next week, some of the Republican suggestions of witnesses will come in, and we'll hear what they have to say. But this is not something that you take lightly, and you make a decision as you go along. One last question. Yes, sir.
On the CR, it's going to come when you guys are
I'll do you next.
passing, when these hearings are still going on. I'm curious, if you've been negotiating the continuing resolution, these
Yeah.
bills, what's been the working relationship with the White House? I mean, have they been involved in this process? I guess the adage of walking and chewing gum at the same time.
I'm not a gum chewer, but I do eat a lot of chocolate as I walk around here. Obviously, the president, the four branch, House, Senate, Democrats, Republicans, and the White House we all have to come to an agreement. And left to our own devices, these appropriators come from the culture of appropriations and intelligence. That's where I was forged in the Congress. Both places that, by and large, when I first started there, were not particularly partisan, but the left to their own devices, the appropriators know how to get their job done. So without going into any detail, we're moving in a direction because we do not want a shutdown of government. We prefer not to have a continuing resolution. So